All right, everyone, it's time for some more legacy media propaganda that really fell with a thud, by the way, because, the Chicago riots and a few other things have scraped them off the internet. Coming from the legacy media, if you watched yesterday, the headlines, it said basically, Trump wants to destroy Social Security. He promises to disband Social Security if reelected. Now, of course, warning bells go off in the minds of anyone who's in their 60s and 70s, and this has been a perennial thing. The Democrats, since Ronald Reagan, have consistently, during campaign seasons, whether it's the midterms or the general, it doesn't really seem to make a difference, said the Republicans are going to take your Social Security away. Oh my God, from this instance to talking about potentially having a private option so people can exempt themselves from Social Security and do a private investment or whatever. The Republicans are supposedly always one step away from taking your Social Security. Now, what Trump actually said was he intends to do away with the payroll tax. Now, full admission, the payroll tax is a major funding source for Social Security. That's not wrong. But saying that you want to remove the payroll tax is not the same thing as getting rid of Social Security. You can get that money from elsewhere. Why is it Congress constantly has made Social Security insolvent anyway by tinkering with a system that's not even welfare? Social Security is fine. With the exception of the fact that it's mandatory, I think Social Security is actually a good thing. With the exception, again, that it's mandatory. I shouldn't have to pay in, but if I sign a waiver and say I'm not paying in, I shouldn't be able to draw out. Essentially, if a person feels that they have better options, they can invest that money better, make it grow more so that they wouldn't need Social Security. Maybe they want to invest that extra money, and maybe they eat better food and stuff. They're like, well, I'll be healthier, I'll be able to work longer, I'll get better food, I'll get exercise equipment or something with the money or something, I'll keep fit. People, I think, should be able to have that option, and while the payroll tax does help fund Social Security, who does it primarily penalize? It's not penal. Bill Gates doesn't care about the payroll tax. His employees have to pay the payroll tax. He doesn't have to pay it. The payroll tax is a regressive tax on the lowest classes in the United States. Who wouldn't want to remove it? Look, the Democrats should be happy about Trump wanting to alleviate taxes for the poor. And that's really, if there was fair coverage of Trump and his policies, the story of the day would be Trump alleviates tax, hated by every poor person in the fucking country. Every low-wage and working class and lower-middle-class worker in the fucking goddamn country gets fucked by the payroll tax system. It's an abomination. It literally makes no sense whatsoever and shouldn't exist. Get the money elsewhere. You're always Bernie rambles about the billionaires, and Trump should sideswipe him right now and say, oh, well, yeah, we'll just tax Amazon. We'll make up that money. Jeff Bezos will pay for your Social Security. Of course, it's not going to happen. And if you underfund Social Security, who cares? Look, I've heard lurid tales since I was literally a kid back in the 90s. Oh, Social Security won't even be here in a few years. It's insolvent. We need to throw more money at it. Yeah, sorry, we borrowed a bunch of the money that was never supposed to be borrowed from it. Now we have to put it back in plus interest because we're just so fucking goddamn stupid. Congress does that every few years too. And the Democrats are constantly panic-mongering. Two big things. The Republicans want to take your Social Security and they want to take your abortions. They haven't done either. Kavanaugh gets in on the latter token. Oh my God, Trump hates women's rights. Trump is anti-choice. Abortion, Roe v. Wade will be gone if Kavanaugh is confirmed. What was his first major decision? 6-3, joining Roberts and the liberals on the court to not hear cases that could potentially jeopardize abortion. It was the funniest fucking thing ever. I told him it would happen. This is years ago. I told you so. And I'll never stop laughing about the fact that I was right about that one, because even a lot of people on the right were like, oh, yeah, finally we can stop those evil abortionists. And I said it's never going to happen, and now they're all pissed at Kavanaugh actually, because he didn't turn out to be like Scalia. Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk that it was a bunch of propaganda? That the president who appointed him actually is technically an old school 80s 90s business dem, like a Mondaleite or something. Donald Trump's not far right. He doesn't care as long as there's profit to be made. With this is an alleviation of a dreaded, hated fucking tax. And nothing else. This is not him getting rid of Social Security. If you read just the headline, and trust me, it's a lie by structure, because the headline and the subtext all say Trump is going to endanger Social Security, Medicare will be gone, Trump is going to kill grandma, like they've been saying for 1,000 years at this point. But if you actually read the text, it's all about the payroll tax. That's not the only source of funding, number one. It's not the only way you can get that funding, number two. Why don't you find a better way to actually get that money to keep Social Security solvent? Why should you be screwing a bunch of working classers? It's ridiculous. It never made sense in the first place. And again, if they were properly reporting on it, look, what they're really worried about is a bunch of working class workers will say, oh, I'll take home more money every month. You know, my income won't be parasitized by this program. They'll get this money elsewhere, maybe from someone who's more wealthy and more able to pay that. You know, in an oddly progressive sense, by the way, which I myself don't even fully fucking support. Wow, maybe I'll vote for this Trump dude. He's saving me money. It's just like with the tax cuts. The tax cuts that he passed, as far as a ratio of amount saved to amount actually paid, it was a broad lower, middle, and upper middle class tax cut. It was mostly focused on the most productive class, which is the broad middle class, and to an extent the upper echelons of the working class. People on the margins of wealth did fairly well as well. It wasn't a tax aimed at billionaires. The only reason why they're saving more is because they pay a higher tax rate. But that doesn't matter. $100,000 doesn't mean a lot to Jeff Bezos. But several $1,000s certainly means a lot to a person who pulls in $50K a year, and that's the tax cut that they got. If they're an entrepreneur, small business owner, self-employed, which I am, it was even higher. It was even better. As a ratio of actual amount earned to actual amount paid, actual amount saved rather, it was considerable. The ratio is highest for people that are in the solid middle class or at least on the fringes of it, not for the rich. But if you looked at reporting about it, oh, Trump is giving more money to his billionaire buddies. The same billionaires that all back BLM and want Biden to win the election. Trump gave him free money. He's beloved by the rich, by the plutocracy. That 99% of them fucking hate his guts because he's helping the poor and he's helping the middle class. And that's really what this is about. It's propaganda. Trump's not attacking Social Security. Trump's attacking a tax that everyone under any other circumstance would agree should have been abolished years ago. I find it very, very funny. So instead, there will be people that will vote against their own self-interest from the working or lower middle class, say, oh, fuck Trump, I'm voting for Biden. I'm voting for a tax increase rather than for getting rid of this tax that's nonsensical to begin with. Because they told me that Trump hates my grandma, and my grandma's on Social Security, and obviously she'll be eating, she's eating cat food now, which, you know, she has been under both Democrats and Republican administrations. She's eating cat food. She's going to have to take a ration cut. What's she going to eat next? Cockroaches? See a pile of grass crickets from the pet food store. She's gonna have to go foraging out in the wilderness like Hillary Clinton when she lost the election. She sort of wandered off and subsisted on roots and berries and stuff. All your grandmas are gonna be like as crazy as Hillary Clinton. Okay, maybe we should probably oppose it if that's gonna happen. Just joking. That's about all. Peace out.